When most people think of Boney M, they picture the vibrant stage presence, the flashy costumes, and the infectious disco beats of the late 1970s. Songs like Rivers of Babylon, Daddy Cool, and Rasputin became international hits, dominating charts across Europe and beyond. But behind the glitz and choreography was a man few people outside the music industry truly recognized, Frank Farian. He was the creator, the producer, and the actual voice behind many of Boney M's biggest hits. And yet, he was never on stage. Frank Farian, a German record producer and songwriter, conceptualized Boney M in 1974. He began by recording Baby Do You Wanna Bump, using his own voice for both the low and high vocal parts, then releasing it under the name Boney M. When the track gained traction in European clubs, Farian realized he needed a visual group to bring the music to life on television and in live shows. The result was the assembly of a band that would front his music, but not necessarily perform the vocals on the studio recordings. The group that appeared in music videos and performed on stage consisted of 4 members: Liz Mitchell, Marsha Barrett, Maisie Williams, and Bobby Farrell. Liz and Marsha were trained singers and did contribute vocals on some tracks. However, Maisie Williams and Bobby Farrell, the 2 members most associated with Boney M's energetic stage performances, rarely, if ever, sang on the official studio recordings. Most of the male vocals, including the distinctive deep-voiced rapping and spoken lines, were performed by Farian himself in the studio. Bobby Farrell was the face, but not the voice. This method of production created a unique dynamic where the true creative force remained hidden from the public. Farian composed, arranged, and produced almost all the material. He controlled the sound, the image, and the output of Boney M. The band's massive success was essentially driven by his behind-the-scenes direction and his studio work, even though he was absent from the spotlight. Controversy eventually followed as the truth about who sang what became more widely known. Bobby Farrell, in particular, publicly stated his frustration about not being allowed to sing on records. Despite being the most recognizable member of the group, due to his flamboyant dancing and appearance, he had no vocal contribution to Boney M's biggest songs. Farian, however, maintained that he chose not to use Farrell's voice in the studio because it didn't meet his production standards. This wasn't the last time Farian would use this formula. He later repeated the same approach with Milli Vanilli in the late 1980s, another project where the faces of the group did not actually sing the songs. That ended in one of pop music's most infamous scandals when the deception was revealed and the group's Grammy Award was revoked. In the case of Boney M, however, the music endured. Despite the unconventional arrangement behind the scenes, the songs continued to resonate across generations. The legacy of Boney M is still tied to the disco era, holiday playlists, and nostalgic retrospectives. Yet few know that the man who architected it all, and who sang many of the iconic lines, never stepped on stage as part of the act. Frank Farian's role in Boney M's success reshaped the way pop music was produced and marketed in the 1970s and 1980s. He blurred the lines between performance and production, image and reality. While Boney M's members became global icons, it was Farian's vision, studio mastery, and business instincts that drove the project to global fame. He was the voice, the producer, the mastermind. And yet, to the audience, he remained invisible,